Welcome back. So we are on lesson 4 today. So our lesson for today is about reaping and sowing. So if you have already seen the reaping and sowing video, that's awesome. If you haven't, you can go back and check it out. It's under the spiritual lessons. So what we're talking about today is reaping and sowing, but we're talking about it in regards to the things that you've done in your life. So if you think about something, maybe you feel really guilty about something that you've done. I'm guessing you maybe do, because most of my clients that come to me feel really guilty about something. Now, typically what they're feeling guilty about is something that is not a big deal, frankly. It's not something that's huge, but that they have taken on and that they feel really, really bad about. Now, sometimes there will be something that you have done to somebody else and maybe you regret it, maybe you wish that you could take it back. So then there would be that guilt that is there. So what is guilt doing? It's telling us that we wish that something would have happened in a different way. So when you live in this energy of guilt, so you could even do that right now just for one moment. You could think about the thing that makes you feel guilty, and I want you to notice how it immediately depletes the energy that's there in your body. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have felt guilty about this, so that it will prevent you from doing something like that again in the future. But once you've got to the point where you are like, I'm never doing that again, that is never happening again, I would never want to put somebody through something like that ever again, then you can work on forgiving yourself. And why is that so important? Because that energy that you have, so when you think about that guilt, that energy that you're holding there inside your body is being projected out into the world around you, into the very fabric of the universe. So I want you to think about this, that there's nothing solid, and that all of the thoughts, all the energy that you have is being sent out in waves all around you. And it all comes from the way that you're feeling. So if you're carrying around a lot of this guilt, you're going to get things that feel that way coming back to you. It's an awful thing. So my example was guilt here, but we do this with everything. Any thought that we are thinking, we're sending out there into the universe. So, maybe it was an action. Maybe it was something that you actually did that you regret and that you did. So first of all, you need to make amends for that. And then second of all, when you're ready, you need to forgive yourself so that you can clear up that energy. So you got all this energy. If you're holding this much, feeling bad, well, you've only got this much left to work with. So do you want it all back or not? You'll need to forgive yourself for that. So that comes into terms of reaping and sowing. For what you've done to other people, you're going to get back. Now, that doesn't mean that if you went out there and you cheated on somebody and you totally destroyed that person by doing that, that you're going to have somebody then cheat on you and you're going to have to deal with that. That's not what that means. It means that something of equal vibrational frequency, so of equal, I will say in that particular example, damage, is at some point going to come back to you, because maybe that thing that you did to somebody else wouldn't have bothered you so much. Maybe that's not the thing that would bother you the most. But if it was for this person, well, at some point that thing, whatever it is that would feel the same, that would cause you that same thing, is going to come back to you. So it's very important. That's why, there's perfectionists, and I know that perfectionism is a symptom of trauma, wanting to get everything perfect so you're not judged. But there's also this innate nature in us that we want to do things really well. And it's because we just intuitively know that we get back what we're putting out. So we want to send perfect stuff out so that we get perfect stuff back. So when we're talking about reaping and sowing, it's not just the actions. So that's the actions that I'm talking about. So there will be choices that you make in your life that goes along with the actions. You've chose to do something, you've taken action, that will come back to you at some point. But there's also this thing that we think is just so innocent, but it isn't. It's the thoughts that we have. It's the mental poison. It's the energy, because all we're working with is energy. So when we send our thoughts out, which are just like sending out thought waves, sending out energy waves, sending out vibrational frequency waves, if we're sending something out to someone else, let's say that we're very critical or judgmental about somebody. That's the first example. Let's say that we're critical or judgmental about somebody and it's someone specific. First of all, the more that you think about that person in a negative way, the more that you are going to start coming to their mind. And pretty soon they're maybe going to feel a certain way, and they might even send some of that judgment back to you. You're going to get it back. What you send out, you're going to get back. It might not be right away. This could be in 20 years that you're going to get something similar back to what you've sent out. But it will come back to you. Now let's say that you're being judgmental or critical about something. Let's say you go for a walk. And as you're walking down the street, you're like, oh, look at that person's yard. Oh, look at that. Ooh, I don't like that. Ooh, that's nice. But ooh, I don't like that over there. Why would they do that? Just feel the vibration of that. You're sending that out into the fabric of your world. And that's what creates the visible manifestations that we see. So I know, 1000%, it is really easy to, especially depending on the people that you're dealing with in your life, but it is really easy to get caught up in that and to find yourself doing it. And maybe you even find yourself in the middle of doing it and you want to stop it, but you don't because you're with people who judge all the time. And so you just kind of jump on board and you do it. And maybe you're like, okay, well, I want to start to be more positive, but I have these people in my life that, keep dragging me down. It's a very difficult thing to deal with, but every single day we can choose to do it better. And especially when you know that law of reaping and sowing, that what you're putting out, you're going to get back. It's a good reminder, it's essentially karma that's right in your face of, do I want this to come back to me or not? Okay, well, if you don't, what do you want to come back to you? Okay, love. Okay, so then how can you put that into that situation? So let's say you go for a walk. You're walking down the street. Everything that you see. And now I'm not saying that you can't have preferences, that you can't like certain things more than other things, but I am saying that the criticisms and the judgments that you are putting out about those little things, even if they are just little things, that they do matter, that they're taking you away from the heavenly state, from seeing everything around you as beautiful and wonderful, and that they're dragging you down more into the earthly, hellish state. And this is our free will. It's a choice. You're going to make that choice. Am I going to see the beauty in the world and only focus on that, or am I going to see all the things that I don't like? So now if you're focusing on the things that you don't like, the criticisms and the judgments and the things like that, if you're focusing on those things, you're going to get more of those things in your life. And even just thinking about those now, think about something you don't like for a second. Ugh, that's not fun. Why do you want to think about something that you don't like? Does that feel like heaven or does that feel like hell? So if you want to create more heaven in your life, then you need to be sending out the good. Now I know that this is so difficult. So a way that you can make it easier, first of all, is to heal the things in your past so that you're only dealing with what you have in front of you. Something that you can do is to clear up things. Maybe you are dealing with people in your life that don't get it. They don't understand, that they're very difficult to talk to or to get your point across. So then maybe you need to do things in a different way. Maybe you need to write it out in a letter. You could send it to them or not. Just write it out. But as you deal with this reaping and sowing in your life, think about what you would want. The saying of do unto others as you would have them do unto you. What kind of thoughts would you want people to have about you? Whatever that is, if you want to get it back, then you need to send those thoughts out about other people. That's how you get those things back. Now you might say, well, that's not true because, I did this and that and then this thing happened to me. But if you really examined your life, if you really thought about it, if you actually went back in the piggy bank of your memories, you would find that there was a time that you did that very thing that you don't like, that someone else has done to you, or that you feared that horrible thing that was done to you. Because our thoughts are energy, and it cannot tell a difference between make-believe and real. Cannot tell a difference. That's one thing that's 100% true in your mind. It does not know the difference between pretend and real. You know that, but the thoughts that you have in your mind do not. So if you spend time being afraid that something is going to happen, feel that feeling of fear. You're sending it out, and the universe doesn't know that you don't want this. It just knows that that is what it is, that this is it. This is the vibration that I'm feeling. And so then that's what you're going to get back. So you may not have done something to deserve this thing back, but you may have feared that thing that then came to you. You may have worried about it. You may have, daydreamed about it. You may have, considered it. Nothing comes into our reality unless it has first been created through our consciousness, and then very often and most of the time through the words that we speak. So, for example, let's say, somebody cheated on you. This is just my example because it's personal to me. This has happened to me. I had a fear that this was going to happen because I was seeing things that were going on, and I even spoke it. And I said, "You're probably going to do this." And I believe it was that day that ended up happening the first time. Or actually, it probably wasn't even the first time. I don't even know when it was. But that day it happened. So our words are very, very powerful. And you might have noticed that when you have something on your chest, let's say that it's critical or judgmental or heavy or weighing you down or fearful or worrisome or whatever it is, that you very often will speak it because you feel like you need something from somebody else. You need their support, their understanding. You just need someone to hear you out, whatever it is. You need to speak it. But as we speak these things, we are creating vibrational waves, and we're cementing them into the consciousness. So in the Bible it says, in the beginning was the Word. Well, that's not true. You can't have words without first having consciousness. You first have to have the thought, and then you have the word. So it should read, in the beginning was consciousness. So now let's take this consciousness. That's the energy. That's what we're working with here. So it's very important to really care about what it is that you're spending your thoughts on, what you're not only what you're spending your thoughts on, but what you allow to come out of your mouth. And if it's something that you wouldn't want to come out of your mouth, then you need to work on the consciousness that's there. You need to work on the thoughts that are there and change it and shift it so that it doesn't need to come out of your mouth. Because as you do, you're putting that into the fabric of the universe, and it's going to manifest its way back to you. So this works. I've mostly been focused on the negative thing because that's what I'm trying to get you to avoid. But it works in the best ways too. That you can speak and you can create wonderful things for yourself. You can say, of course, this person wants to offer me this job and pay me huge amounts of money for it. Of course, the love of my life comes and finds me and sweeps me off my feet. Of course, my family is safe and protected and they all get along, and what a wonderful thing it is. You can speak good and wonderful things, first creating them there in your mind and then believing in them. And you'll create wonderful things in your environment and around you. And the people that come into your life will be your people. So when I moved down here, I recently moved, I'm in Joplin. If I said that in the last video, I might have, Missouri. When I moved down here, I was told that the timing would be perfect. It could not have been more perfect. I was told that I would be divinely protected. I've been divinely protected. I was told that I would meet people that were my people. And that's exactly what's happened. I walked into one of the first nights that I was here. first week maybe, I was going to go check out the jujitsu gyms because I do jujitsu. So I go to the gym and I walk in the building, and this woman walks out, and she looks over and she looks at me and she's like, oh, I feel like I know you. And I'm like, oh, I doubt it. Like, I'm 18 hours away from home. I've only been here, a few days. Maybe you know my sister, maybe you know my mom, whatever it happens to be. She was like, no, that's not it. Like, I really feel like I know you. So we're kind of, just talking for a little bit. And she goes, oh, are you a hypnotist? And I was like, yes. Okay, this just got really weird. She's like, I follow you on Instagram. So me and her, I love her, me and her went out for coffee or for lunch like a little while later. So she tells me, so this is how I knew that this was divine. There's been many things like this that have happened. She tells me when she first saw me that she's a pay attention to what's straight in front of her kind of person, that she doesn't, if this or that's going on around her, she's just not even going to see it. She doesn't pay attention. She's focused on where she's going, and that's where she goes. She said, but when she walked out of the back room in the jiu-jitsu building, she said that she saw this white shimmery aura, and that was what drew her attention over to me. So I knew that it was divinely guided. This was my confirmation that the divine is fulfilling the promises that I was told would happen for me. So then 2 days ago, I was working with a client of mine, and I was at a shop here in town. And when a woman came out and she said, did you pay somebody to come in here? Of course, I had no idea what she was talking about. And she said, well, there was a man, and he came in here, and he was about to leave. He was halfway out the door, and he came back in and he closed the door, and he said, who is here that clears chakras? Who works for you? And she goes, oh, there's nobody here that does that. I mean, there's no one. And he goes, no. There was somebody here, and it was a woman, and she walked right here, and she went back there. And he pointed to the room that I was in, that I was actually currently in at the time. And she goes, oh, well, that's our hypnotist. We have a hypnotist back there. She's actually there right now. And he was like, she's there right now? And he goes, yeah, I can see. She walked right here. She's very good at what she does. And then he took my business card and he left. And so she tells me this, and she's like, did you pay somebody to come in here? And you set this up, didn't you? I had no idea what she was talking about. But to me, again, because that morning when I was driving there, I was getting really frustrated. Things have been moving along, but it wasn't going as fast as I wanted. I'm sure you can relate to that things sometimes just don't move at the lightning pace that you want them to. So as I was driving over there, I said, I want confirmation. I want something today, and I want it now. And I was very forceful about this because I said, you told me these things, so I want proof. And then that happened maybe an hour later while I was actually in the building. So beyond that, it's belief. So when we're told these things, if you've ever had an insight and you just knew it, but then maybe somebody talked you out of it, or maybe you started doubting yourself, or whatever it happened to be, I'm here to say, dispel all the doubt, because Jesus came and he taught us that it's belief. And now the church has completely misconstrued this and said that it's belief in him. It was never that. It was belief in his word. So he was preaching. He was telling people exactly what I'm telling you now about reaping and sowing, and that you're creating the lives and the worlds around you. And he was telling them that it is all your belief. Nobody was believing him. No one was accepting his messages because they were so indoctrinated with the Jewish traditions, and they were under this Roman Empire that threatened damnation on them if they didn't, pay for sacrifices in the church. And Jesus came to fight against that. And the way that he did that was he had to perform miracles for these people. He had to, he knew that if he didn't do that, that they wouldn't listen to him. So he would preach and he would tell them, and then he would heal the sick people through his belief. And so he believed with no doubt. Have you ever believed something with no doubt? Truly actually believe something with no doubt? If you've got a pen and paper, write that down, and I want you to think about it. And I guarantee you, it's few and far between the things that you believe and don't have a bit of doubt. You might believe something real strong for a second, and then this little devil is going to creep in, this devil called doubt, and it's going to steal it away. Because if you've got any doubt at all, you don't have faith, you don't have total belief. And you have to have total belief to create miracles in your life. You have to have total belief, 100%. And that's what he had, because he experienced it. I experienced that. When I was up in my cabin, I had it. It flowed through me. Now, does it mean that I'm a perfect person now? No. I'm working on it. But I have so many more moments throughout my entire day of recognizing, oh, what am I doing? I gotta, get back on track here. And before that, I was just so much more unaware of myself. So it was through total belief, total faith, with absolutely no doubt. So I tell you this today to tell you that when you really believe that if you send out just really good into the world around you, you will get it back. You will be divinely cared for. It's all about the belief that you have inside of you. And so the emotions that you have, things from the past that cause these emotions and that cause this turmoil inside of you, they destroy that belief, because you then manifest, bring into your life these negative experiences, these lower vibrational things, because that's where you are resonating. And so you're going to bring those things to you. And so then it's hard to have belief and it's hard to have faith. You can say, well, I prayed for this and God doesn't talk to me, or this or that. And it's just not true. That's not true. You need to spend more time then. You need to have the intention, and you need to spend more time. And you need to listen. And sometimes we can't listen to things when we're so clouded with all of this energy that we haven't dealt with. And we've only got this much that's not contaminated to talk to God and to deal with. The messages and the things that are coming in. So it's so important to heal those things inside of you. It's so important to heal those things inside of you. So the lesson today about reaping and sowing. So what you can take from this is, send out the good. So if there's someone here for today, this is the exercise. If there's somebody in your life that is just really difficult to forgive, I want you to think about that energy that you send out every time that you think about that person. And that's going to come back to you. It's going to come back to you, and it might not be from another person. It might come back to you physically inside your body. You might end up with pains inside your body. It can do all kinds of things to you, that negative energy that you're sending out. So if you think about someone that you need to forgive, and you might say, oh, I don't need to forgive anybody, because you don't want to. I'm here to tell you, you do need to forgive. That was also another one of Jesus's lessons, and I have forgiven people that do not. It took a lot to forgive these people. But it's so freeing, and it's so good when you do it. And when you set that person free too, that part's even better. And it doesn't seem like it when you're not in the forgiveness mode yet, but it's worth it. It's so good. So your homework is to think about somebody that you need to forgive, and you don't need to do anything other than, first of all, do the forgiveness of others video. But then, this is the homework part. I want you to think about heavenly love, and just think about wrapping that person in heavenly love, and just keep doing it, and just keep doing it, and just keep doing it. Do it 2 minutes today, 2 minutes tomorrow, 2 minutes the next day, and just keep doing it. It will soften those things inside of you. And as you're doing that, you're using your energy for wonderful, you're gonna get wonderful things back from doing that. But as you're doing that, it will begin to change things for you. You will see that, people hurt other people. And as much as it does not make it okay, and as much as it doesn't take your pain away, it will begin to shift things for you. So wrapping people in heavenly love, that's the homework for today. And then keep doing that mental cleanse series. If you have been, take notes. Make sure that you're taking notes so that you can see your progress, like we talked about in the last video. So I love you all so much. Thank you for joining me. I gotta start saying y'all more now that I'm down in Joplin, Missouri. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Truly do love you guys. Thank you for watching. You know, however many of you there are. Maybe there's a couple, maybe there's a ton. I don't know. But whoever's watching this, you were supposed to watch it. So thanks for watching it. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.